Howdy, I'm Jason, and today in the AutoEdit Garage, we're back working on the 73 Mustang we've been calling Large Marge, and today's gonna be a cool, see what I did? Cool episode in the sense that we're installing this, a BeCool aluminum radiator. Now, this is gonna be neat because I learned a new phrase from them. It's called a cooling module, and what that means is that's everything you need to install that in your vehicle, get it dialed in. So let me run you through all the ingredients that we're about to assemble, and we'll get this thing in the Mustang.
What we have here is the BeCool Classic 1000 horsepower module, which is a bit optimistic for this project, but offers the maximum amount of cooling. There are dual 13-inch high-torque fans, shroud, and wiring harness, complete with relays and a 195-degree sending unit, a billet aluminum coolant recovery tank and radiator cap, polished upper and lower fan shroud mounting brackets, plus I ordered a bucket of the new BeCool coolant. This stuff is a next generation biodegradable propylene glycol that's good for 300,000 miles, protects components down to minus 26 degrees, it's compatible with any other color coolants, and doubles the already great BeCool warranty on my radiator install. What I'm saying is, it's really good stuff.
All right, so first up, we want to assemble the shroud, and that means we're gonna go ahead and put on all of our little rubber insulators. And the easy way to do that is to do that now. So you just push these little dudes in. They'll live right there. So we'll get all of our bumpers on, and these will just keep this stuff from rattling up against the radiator fins. Easy peasy. And these cool little dudes are called highway flaps. And what they allow is, so I don't know if you've ever had the experience of when you have a car that's sitting around in traffic and it doesn't overheat, but then you go down the highway when there's plenty of air and then it overheats. Well, that's what these things help alleviate. So let me get a few of these things on here, then I'll explain to you how these work. It's a pretty brilliant little thing. 3 down, 400 left to go. Only seems like that, but. Now let me show you what these things do. So now when you're going down the highway sometimes, what can happen is the fans can create a bit of a blocking point. Even at full speed, there could be enough air trying to get through the radiator that it creates turbulence and stops the airflow through here. And in which case, these things actually pop open to let that air in and through the radiator and do some cooling. So what that does is it just maximizes the performance of your shroud. So you have the best of both worlds, the low speed max draw from your fans, plus the high speed airflow down the highway. So that's just what those little guys, they're super simple, but it's a cool little thing.
Next up is to get the fan shroud mounting brackets attached, and that whole shindig then gets tightened onto the radiator. Now bolt the fans into place on the shroud, and since I'm a stickler for that clean look on my wiring, I'll clock the fans so the connectors are close to each other.
Okay, so now that we have the cooling module assembled and ready to get installed into the Mustang, I wanted to show you guys the basics of the wiring here. Now I know this can seem pretty intimidating. It's just this jumble of wires. What does it all do? Now I'm going to do a quick explanation here and a quick demonstration just to show you guys. And when I go do the wiring harness in this thing, I may do a little bit more in depth on that. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But here's the basics of this particular system right now. Now these guys are the relays, and you have one for each fan. Because these are such high amperage draw here, you don't want those things running out of basically your wiring harness or your fuse block on your vehicle. You want those to run right off the battery, and that's what those orange wires do. So those feed these. So think of these as kind of like the workhorse. So they're going to do the work, and then you're going to use these nice dainty little wires here to create the signal to turn those things on. So you have the power supplied right to the relays, right off the battery. Then you have the wire that actually turns the relays on. And right now I have that wired to the ignition, so that actually only is active when the key is in ignition mode, which is running mode. And then you'll have the signal wire, and that's this guy right here, and that's set on a 195-degree temperature sender, which basically just grounds this signal wire out and turns the relays on, sending power to the fans. Here's a quick example. So I'm going to simulate 195 degrees of water by just grounding it out. See that? And then I have that wired so it's off. When the key is off, there's no power in the circuit. So it's simple as that. So key on. And if it sees 195 degrees at the sender, they're on. But so say when your car is cool and the sender's not seeing that 195 degrees, they're off again. So for the next part of this demonstration, I'm going to show you how the freeway flaps work. So here you are driving down the road and your car is at temperature, your fan's blowing, everything's okay. But say that you're going down the freeway on a hot day at 70 miles an hour, these things right here will allow that extra air to get through and keep your car cool or your vehicle cool at highway speed. And that's just a really cool little feature to just add that added bit of security that you're going to get maximum cooling. And I really like that. I like my little glove here. I think that's kind of funny. Here's an example of how much draw that those fans are making from the back of this thing. We'll just have something, there's a pretty strong draw back there, and that's pretty cool. And then likewise, three-way flaps. Pretty darn cool unit here. So let's get that thing stuck in the Mustang. What are we doing down here? All right, so if you're a dipstick like me, you'll have started a project a couple years ago, taken it all apart, and then lost or thrown away things. Now to install that beautiful aluminum radiator in this stock spot, you use the stock brackets. I lost those. So I whipped up a couple on the side yard, and so we'll use those to do this install. You wouldn't have to if you had those parts or if you were just swapping that in. So let's get this thing in. It sits right down there on the stock bracket. We'll put our fancy homemade brackets in. Get those started. And that will go right there. You use stock hardware on the core support here. So let's just get those tightened down. And that thing is not going anywhere. Boy, does that look good. So there it is in place. I mean, that thing is solid. My homemade brackets are okay, but it's really cool that this thing would just plug right into your stock location and add this huge amount of cooling force. So let's get the rest of the things on. The speed bump that I'm going to hit, I know right now, is the upper radiator hose because I have to go around this snout. We'll figure that out later. We'll just get the stock one and I'll show you that. And then we got a billet fluid recovery tank. We got a cap and the lower hose. We can get the lower hose on. So that's our cue for the A-Team music and the montage of cutaway shots of all that stuff going on. So this is the stock upper hose, and as you can see, that would work just perfectly if not for boost, supercharger snout, in the way. So what I'm going to do, I've seen other guys just extend that and go over the top. That's unacceptable. We're going to go here, and then I'll turn the corner, make a straight run here, but I have to order those parts online, so that will have to wait for now, but you get the idea. So that's a pause. But otherwise, check this out. So there it is, the BeCool cooling module complete in the Mustang. Now that's just one thing I get to check off the list of things to worry about. This thing will not overheat. I have experience with these things, love it. So that's why I chose it. That's why I'm stoked with that, and the install looks great. So here's what this means. All I have to do is put an exhaust on this car and put a wiring harness in it, and then I will try to start it. I'm pretty excited about that. I know some of you guys are too. I'm gonna put it on the books. I got a bunch of stuff coming up, but I'm gonna get this thing going. I promise you guys, really, really stoked on this install. So until next time, enjoy your drive.